Good afternoon. I'm Craig Hall with Heavener Ledger, and I'm here with Heavener Superintendent Ed Wilson and Athletic Director Jim Roll for the weekly update. Ed, if you want to, go ahead and tell us about the grant the school received.
You bet, you bet. Just take a moment here, and I want to thank you, Craig, again, and Heavener Ledger for doing this for us, with us, the Facebook Live. And yeah, we've got some exciting news, that we just received yesterday, where we were congratulated with, we applied for a State Department of Education CARES grant, it's called, and it's some of this incentive money that the federal government put out, and they gave it to states, and then the states, schools across Oklahoma applied for it, and they did award 150 school districts across the state. And Heavener was fortunate, and a lot of hard work by our admin team here, and so I'm very appreciative of our leadership team and admin team for working hard. Janie put a lot of time into it, myself and Connie and all of us, and so man, we were just appreciative of it. $100,000 to be used, exactly $100,000, and that's a true blessing, just to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And what it's going to do, that grant is actually going to help us finish out our one-to-one laptop initiative. Several years ago, Heavener Public Schools, we started a one-to-one laptop initiative, and in our first couple of grades, I think was maybe 6th, 7th, and 8th, if I remember right. And then the next year, all those computers went up, and so then we wound up buying 10 and 11, and then grades 12. And so where we had been dominoing up, pushing the computers up, and so that left us grades 5 and below that we hadn't had an opportunity to purchase just yet. And we were doing that with local funding and some of our other, title funds and federal funds. However, now with this funding, this CARES funding, and this is all a result of the COVID, the global pandemic. And so these funds now are going to be used to help us finish out that for grades 5 and below, where we're going to get some computers, and then even some touch screens for our younger kids to help them, because we have to be geared up. We've got to get geared up and get ready, okay? Because most schools that you've seen across the area, and Heavener's going to be no different. We're going to have those three options. You're going to have traditional. We've been talking about it now for how many weeks now? Was this about our third or fourth one? And so we know that we're going to have a traditional setting. We know that we're going to have a blended setting. And then we're also going to have a virtual setting. But every one of those is going to require a student computer. Every one of those is also going to require our instructors, to have a laptop to be able to work at home, And so when we get this thing up and rolling, that's what this funding is going to allow us to do. It's also going to allow us to get additional technology. We've been talking about the hot spots, and hopefully trying to find some regional, areas in our district, our geographical areas. Now we've got funding for that, you see what I'm saying? And so we wrote that specifically into that grant. We also have training coming up, we've got to do some, we want to be prepared, not only as a, as an entire district staff, but, we're going to have that training so we can be able to teach virtually, from a distance. And so we need to keep that on the forefront, and on the front burner. And then also we've got a component in there for mental health. Mental health, we've been out of school a long time. Kids have been out of school a long time, and part of the learning environment at school deals with, having your guidance counselors, and having access to mental health counselors, and just having your instructors, who see you on a daily basis, who may be able to recognize as something, if there is something, that's bothering a student or a child. And so we want to be able to have some training, some advanced training in that, and then correlate that how we're going to have that training. Because if we are in a digital setting, or if we are in a virtual setting, or if we are in a prolonged setting where we're away from school, we don't want those services, or we don't want, those opportunities for a kid to still be able to reach out and be able to, if they have an issue, if they have a problem, we still want to be able to meet those needs as well. And so, so that's what we're excited about with that grant right now. We think that it was a shot in the arm yesterday, really good, to receive $100,000 to be able to kick this thing over and to get us, past the curve and around the bend, so to speak, and get us prepared as we get ready for the upcoming school year.
That's good.
Yep.
How long does it usually take for the funds to get here?
These funds will be available just pretty soon, the month of July. I mean, because some of we've already started purchasing. You know what I'm saying? We started actually, comprising a list of computers and Chromebooks and things like that, and trying to get quotes. Getting those quotes ready and lined up. Just in preparation if we was to get receive the grant. And so now you'll see in the next 2 to 3 weeks those ordering processes, and then and grants kind of work on most grants kind of work on you spend it and then you get your money back.
Right.
And so that's kind of where this is similar to that as well. So anyway, but yeah, I think we'll be able to start spending and then getting reimbursed or getting that funding back. So anyway, we're very pleased, and we're very happy to be able to announce that. So anyway, change gears a little bit, as we get ready. We've seen, I hope that everybody has seen, on the school website or the school Facebook page, Apogee school. We have an app, and well, there's a survey out there, and as we're preparing, we know we're going to have the traditional setting and the virtual setting and the blended setting, but there is a survey out there, and this is, keeping tabs on the survey, you know what I'm saying? Well, on that survey, there's been about 430 students represented in that survey, Wolf Nation, I'm telling you, that's about 50% of our student body, it's not even 50%, you know what I'm saying? But we need more input on that, you see what I'm saying? We need our student body, we need our kiddos and their parents and their families, we need our community patrons to come together, take some time to fill out that survey. It's not going to take you very long, but it's giving you different scenarios and different questions, it's talking about, levels of concern, where are we at on that, do you want the traditional? Would you be interested in the virtual? Would you be interested in the blended? And those are things that data, that information is what's going to help us drive as a leadership team within our district these decisions that we get ready to make. And so, but we do need, we want to encourage, our patrons and our students and their families to finish that out, to go ahead and take, if you haven't taken that survey, we sure would appreciate it if you would, because it's very, very vital to us, so, and to change, I got a few notes here, as you go through some of these, Facebook Lives, you start, getting, a little bit more depth, a little bit more, getting some ideas that come to you, and then, when we were talking about the hot spots, not to jump around, but we have discussed those hot spots in some different, regional geographical areas across our district, and if anyone's out there from, Big Creek Church, Hontubby, Forester, even, Independence, we would like to visit with, we need to start getting that plan together, and if you would, want to be part of that plan, we sure would like to start getting that, call us beginning next week, if you're a representative from one of those community churches or even a community building in that area might work as well. But, it's time for us to start, we're needing to get those in place, and we need to get those hot spots up and going. And then, and then of course around our community, we know that, we have, our parking lots, the high school, school parking lots on the east side of town. And then we also have our public library. And I know that Miss Rachel down there, she was talking, and she sent me an update about the public library. And so anyway, that they are more than welcome, that they've made making about the churches being available for Wi-Fi hubs. All right, it says that the library also has that Wi-Fi accessibility to students in town, and they just wanted us to know that the library is willing to, partner with the school, so to speak, be with, let our community kids out there. They've added access points to their existing Wi-Fi that extends further into the parking lot, and they have 100 megabyte capacity that is balanced for Wi-Fi users, and it's guaranteed. It's a guaranteed good experience, is what she was referring to, and I'm telling you, that really makes us feel good here at the school. Whenever we see that kind of feedback and that kind of comment, and people, different agencies, in different places in the community that's willing to help us, and help our kids, because, we're all in it, we're all in it. And so this is, and that's what, and I'm just telling you, it was just a blessing, and it was just really something that was nice to see when I received that email from Miss Rachel, down there at the library. And, that they're willing to have that turned on and let the kids, have another area to go to if and when we need that internet connectivity, And, of course, we've been talking, one of the questions on the survey, was about internet connectivity, and I think over 50-something% of our homes are connected out of the, the 430 students that's represented. Well, that's a pretty good number. I get that, But there's still some, though, that's, is having difficulty with connectivity. Maybe it's geographical. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's, something even in town. I don't really know, because it's not we don't have a location on it. But what we do understand, though, is that you, as a family, need to start having that dialogue and that discussion about how you're going to get connected and how you're going to be connected, because when this happens, we're going to have some form of virtual education. We're going to have some form of blended education. We're going to have traditional education, yes. But even in the traditional settings, there's going to be days in the week to where we're going to be sitting in the classroom, and we're going to be, every day of the week, we're going to be using our computer in the classroom. You see what I'm saying? And then, because that's our one-to-one initiative. But there's also going to be one day of the week to where we're going to push it out, and we're going to practice the system like we are virtual. You know what I'm saying? Like there has been something that's pushed us into that role. So we want to be able to test the system. So, and that's going to require, now we'll have the connectivity those days, you see what I'm saying, at our, at the school. But you also got to be practicing that at home. And so, if connectivity is going to be an issue, then we need to start having that dialogue now. So anyway, touched on, outreach, with the Big Creek Church, Hontubby Independence, and, Forster there. Let us know if you're interested in that, because we sure could use some help in our outlying geographical areas. We want to partner, we want to be able to provide those hot spots, Obviously, no, we don't expect the churches to let people into their church, no, but maybe access to your parking lot where we have those hot spots hooked up. And so we would like to be able to, to partner with our local regional or churches out there, Also, we're thinking about doing a robocall reminder, on the survey, and then maybe couple that, we just want, seems to be like there's been some little bit of confusion, about start dates and stuff with everything coming up, that, well, our start date is August the 10th. That's when we're going to start school, is August the 10th. Now, I say that with a disclaimer, anything could change, I guess, depending on, CDC, depending on government, the governor's mandates or, something of that nature. But right now, barring any of those circumstances, we're looking at August the 10th as a start date. And so that gives us, it's coming up. I always can tell when it gets around the 4th of July, school's not far off, you know what I'm saying? And so here we go, So, just to kind of go back, I know, some of the feedback or some of the questions that we, there's just differing opinions about, what is the procedure going to look like, and you have some parents that, my kids don't need to wear a mask, and some parents, are just the opposite, they want their kids to wear a mask, Well, are masks going to be mandated? That's one question that, that was responded back, somebody asked the question to us, is masks going to be mandated, Well, right now, the government hasn't mandated the use, the wearing of a mask. However, they strongly encourage it. So, right now, we're saying that if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Again, we're also saying that if you want that, don't wait till school starts. You need to start getting, because those cloth masks and whatnot, they're going to be in high demand, and they may become short supply as well. But if you want to wear that mask, then we want your student to wear that mask. We're going to have hand sanitizer. We're working on different procedures about how we transition in the hallways, how we interact, in the cafeteria, where we're at, like, in our PE facilities, and different things like that. So those are all different pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. And as we're building that plan, we know that there's things that's going to come up, on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, that may be something that we didn't think of, but we will have to adjust. Temperature checks. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned at the school board meeting the other day that you're adding another bus route in town to help.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, we're actually going to, due to the COVID-19 global pandemic, we are adding a bus route because our in-town routes are really, they're congested. I'm saying there's a lot of students, that ride those routes, and so what our take is that. If we can at least, temporarily for a year, we'll see how it goes, But if we can make that route, and maybe split it up, and then try to get a little bit, maybe more social distancing that way. And now I do think, though, when it comes to masks, I think that you may see the government, CDC, they may mandate the wearing of masks on the bus, Now, we've spoken to this, a couple of times, we're going to have the transportation, we're going to have bus routes. But if you can bring your student to school, then by all means do it. If you can we want to encourage that. If you can bring your child or your student to school, then feel free to do it. Absolutely do it, and we'll understand, And what we're doing, is that we're still going to have that. But I think that you could see that a mask may be mandated for, bus routes. I think that they're suggesting, keeping the windows down as much as you can, to keep airflow going, And so those are all part of the guidance that, that we're looking at, and that very well could be mandated, But yeah, we have looked at that. And then, again, we talked a little bit about the procedures, in the cafeteria. We're looking at how we're going to handle those. Some students on certain days may be what we call grab and go meals back to their classroom. Just so that we can, kind of eliminate, a crowding area or something. And we're just trying to look at all the different possibilities, and and it's going to take quite a bit of implementation, but I believe that it's something that can be that can be accomplished and can be done, and we said this last week. We realized that the school that we walk into in August is certainly different than the school we walked out of, over spring break. And that just keeps coming back to me every week, and you're probably going to hear it every week that that we're doing all these Facebook Live discussions, information. But it's just true, that is true. Some of the things that we've had in our leadership team, when we've met, is how are we going to, because there's going to be additional cleaning. What are we going to do about that? In the day. We're not talking about after the school day. We're talking about during the school day. And one of the suggestions that arose out of our leadership team discussion is increasing the amount of time in between classes. Maybe instead of 5 minutes, maybe go to 8 minutes. Well, guess what that's going to do? That's going to increase the length of the day. And parents, we don't want to cause a burden on any parent. The lengthening of the day, but that may happen. And it's not to cause a burden to the parents, but it's just. If we have those extra 3 minutes, in between classes, and go from 5 to 8, and we're still looking at it, of course. But if we have those extra minutes, then not everybody is being, especially like at a high school, grades, 6 through 12, not everybody is being in the hallway at one time for a restroom break in between classes, you know what I'm saying? Because that's traditionally how it was, you had 5 minutes, you had to get your book, you went to the restroom, you got to your class, you know what I'm saying? And so, well, that's fine, but if we, if we're trying to watch and trying to okay, we don't want everybody, just in everybody, well, and there, listen, there's going to be some places, where, it's going to be hard to social distance. We know that too, and so you just got to kind of balance that, and you've got to be able to think outside the box. And how can you do that? Well, one of the ways is, at least if we, had that extension of time, then maybe we could do some cleaning, get those kids, in between classes, and maybe they wouldn't be running all over everybody, and that type of thing. Going down the hallway, it's going to be kind of like driving your car. You're going to be going up one side and, meeting traffic, coming back the other way. So those are just different ways that we're trying to implement and make the procedures, safer. Temperature checks. Right now, they're telling us that that we're going to have a partnership with our homes, with our parents and stuff. You got a temperature check. And we're going to give you a sheet, that says, what to look for, and if your student is here, then then we're going to think that, well, you know what, we're looking at the possibility that we may temperature check every student during the day, during the morning, and we think that may be something that just needs to take place, and then so. There's just a whole lot of different things, but we are piecing them together, and of course we get, on everything that we're looking at is guidance from the, will be guidance from the State Department of Ed and then the Oklahoma Health Department as well. So we're pretty appreciative of that they are willing to do that, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. So athletic front, Coach.
Well, we're tied to the educate with how school goes, and as of right now, it looks like the OSSA is looking to open up on our regular schedule. So hopefully all goes as planned. But the only bad thing is, if one person gets it, quarantine for 14 days. As for us, for the month of June, we allowed our athletes to play, but we only played in county teams. Starting next week, well, really starting this week, they can play teams outside the county. So, I think we've done our due justice and trying to prevent this, but you can't stop it. You got to go out and play. But hopefully everything goes well and stays on track, and we can open up with our softball and football. I was telling you earlier, some states have looked at moving their football. I think Texas is, I heard this morning, they're looking at maybe moving football and to the spring, and baseball and everything else to the fall. Louisiana looked at it last week, and they decided not to do that. So hopefully ours will keep going like it is. So,
But right now, your start date for softball, I think, is the 10th, and I think that's when they start practice football also.
I think so. I'll have to go back and look. They can open up the day school starts, or they set a date. And I mean, our athletes and coaches are ready to go. And hopefully we can do that. I would like to say something though. This is kind of a promotional for us. We're having I can't believe 4th of July is 2 days away. I don't know where the month of June went, but it's here and it's gone. But we have a firecracker stand out in front of CV's, and we encourage everyone to come out and if you're going to get firecrackers, let's have a great 4th of July and support the Human Athletic Program. And also, we're going to have sweet corn again this year. Year 4 last we had it. It was a tremendous success, and it was great. I mean, put it in the microwave, cook. Oh, it was great. Then last year, of course, the big flood came, and nobody had corn, except in a can. And this year we are fortunate. We're going to be selling it again. So if you're interested, I think it's $8 for what I say, $8 for,
Dozen.
Baker's dozen, really 13, and, or 22 for a bushel, and you can contact myself, Troy Dyer, or any coach, or any student athlete, and it's gonna be delivered Tuesday, and you can pick it up at the bus barn, and if you can't do it, we will do our best to deliver it for you. So we encourage everyone to come out and support our programs.
Ed, one other thing that I was going to mention was the graduation ceremony Saturday night really went well, good
Yeah.
crowd and everything.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. And, you know, I'll tell you, we want to thank you for the live stream, you know what I'm saying, for both those. It felt really good to get that, you know, to get those in for those young people, you know, the 8th grade and the high school seniors, you know. And we were very appreciative to be able to get that in there and get it completed. And we were blessed with a little bit of miss during the 8th grade, but, you know, then it turned out to be just a perfect night for the high school, you know. And, but we're thankful that we got it in. We're thankful that, you know, we have administration, you know, faculty and staff, and our Board of Education that supported that, you know. We never ruled it out. You know, we went ahead and had the virtual just in case because we didn't know where this thing was going to go. But, you know, we never ruled it out. And then when the timing seemed like it was getting, you know, better throughout the summer, you know, the hotter it's get, you know, it's supposed to affect that virus. And but then, you know, then we started, you know, getting a little nervous because, you know, it started to spike a bit. But anyway, you know, we were very fortunate. We're very thankful to do that, you know. And you know, when Coach was talking about, you know, part of that decision process early on, you know, about not playing teams outside of the county at that time, you know, that was, you know, deliberate. That was by design, you know, because we did, you know, I mean, if you look right now where our county's at, you know, I mean, yeah, it is here, but at that time it wasn't very, you know, prevalent, you know what I'm saying, across the county. And so, you know, we took the standpoint that we thought that at that moment that, you know, hey, you know, let's go out there, you know, and you know, our coaches want to get their kids, you know, and we don't want to, you know, not have, you know, and so, you know, we had some coaches that just worked with our kids here, you know, and they didn't go play in a team camp or a league or something, and that's fine too. We supported that. But one thing that we, you know, that we have is when we had our 7-on-7, you know, and we've touched on this in the past, but we've had, you know, temperature checks, you know what I'm saying, for the folks coming in, and then we've had the hand sanitizer, get your hands sanitized, you know, coming in, you know, limitations in the restroom again. We've already started that implementation, you know. But that was one of the questions, you know, that one of our parent patrons, you know, asked, you know, back to us in the survey was that, you know, what is athletics going to look like? You know, well, right now, it looks like it's normal, you know, but we don't know. We can't answer that. We've heard before that, you know, an option that the OSSAA could implement would be that, you know, that those athletic contests could take place, but it could be with limited fans, you know what I'm saying, limited number of fans, so we don't know, you know. But the main thing is that, you know, we still got to be precautionary, you know, you still got to take those precautions, and you still got to be able to, even if there's fans or no fans, you know, there's still going to be precautions that has to take place, you know. And so those are things that we'll do, you know, and then we're going to, you know, we're going to reinforce just a whole lot of things that we've been doing anyway. But, you know, like, you know, what's the proper way to cough, you know? If you cough, what's the proper way to cough? Cough into the bend, exactly. Cough into the bend of your elbow, you know, and washing your hands. Well, I'll tell you, you know, our district instructors and teachers, they've been practicing that and teaching that and preaching that for years, you know. Hand sanitizer is nothing new in our district, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's been part of even the supply list, you know, and things like that. So, you know, we feel like we've been a little bit ahead of that game anyway, you know, and stuff. So, but you got to take it up to the next level, you know. Now, you know, not just at school, you know, it's going to be hand sanitizer, you know, for people coming into your facilities, you know. You know, how's that going to look, you know, whenever you have an outside group, you know, that is very supportive, you know, of your school and you know, groups that you love to have, you know, and stuff. You know, well, I think it's going to be day to day and week to week. You know, I mean, you know, you may have a traditional, you know, group, you know, that come in like alumni weekend, you know, and we'll just have to see, you know, because, you know, certainly we don't want to, you know, expose, you know, our alumni to somebody, you know, or something like that to, you know, and get them sick. So, you know, we'll just have to play it by ear and just, you know, see where we're at in the moment, you know, at that time, and kind of go that way. But
We won't be smart. You know, I'm,
you know,
it kind of, if you watch both governors, Arkansas and Oklahoma, I don't know how, if you watched them, how they're promoting wearing masks. Have you seen that?
No.
They both said, well, if you want football in the fall, you need to wear a mask. You know, it's kind of ironic, isn't it? They're wanting sports as bad as we are.
oh yeah, absolutely.
You know.
So yeah, they're everybody wants to be normal. You know, we understand that,
Right.
but again, I can't go back, you know, say enough that we do know that, you know, when we start school, it's going to be different than when we left school. You know, and that's just kind of where we're at. You know, and we want to take every opportunity and every precaution, you know, to visit with our patrons. That's why we're doing this right now, you know. Sitting in front of a camera, you know, it's kind of, sometimes can be nervous, you know what I'm saying? It can be nerve-wracking, but, you know, it's worth it to keep us safe. It's worth it to inform our, you know, our patrons and our public, and, you know, and it's worth it to be able to, you know what I'm saying, if we go out there and we are safer because of it, because we've got more communication and we've got more, you know, knowledge out there and a little bit about what's going on, then that's what makes us, you know, healthier. Than I'm for this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to do this and communicate with our patrons and stuff. And I know Coach does too, because athletics and extracurriculars are a big important part of what we do. You know, so. But anyway. What else? Have you had any?
That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. Well, I tell you, you know, again, we appreciate you doing this, Craig. I mean, it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And I know not all communities have what we have here. You know what I'm saying? With you and Ledger being so supportive and to be able to do this for us. You know, and we appreciate you. You know, and like I said, with the graduation, I thought that you know, your live stream was awesome. You know, so we appreciate all you do.
Sure do.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And we will do this again next week. You know, we should have done is encourage people to ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.